YouTube! What's going on, man? Back at it again with another video. It's your boy, Numbers Fan Jay. It's week 2. We got week 2 predictions for you today. But before I get into that, a few little things to touch up on. I do want to apologize to Colts fans for last week's video. I did mention Chuck Pagano as the head coach. The head coach is Frank Wright. I apologize, I got that wrong. Great game, by the way. But anyway, about Antonio Brown, I'm sick of talking about him, first of all. Second of all, I don't want to touch on allegations and stuff of that matter. But I do want to say the Patriots are used to picking up players with a little baggage. Players that get into trouble or are knuckleheads off the field. Nobody knows for sure if he did this or not, and there's evidence that proves otherwise. And I'm not here to make a judgment call on none of that. I'm just saying the Patriots are used to dealing with this. So for everybody saying that the Patriots, he will end the Patriots dynasty, no, because you got to think Albert Haynesworth, you got to think Josh Gordon, players that were stars, that were expected to do a lot and got in trouble while they were there, and it didn't stop anything. They're still going. They still got Brady and Belichick, so they're still going. It's that simple. Also, as I mentioned in my last reaction video, the Jets needed to trade for a receiver. The Jets traded for Demaryius Thomas. They traded a 6th-round pick for Demaryius Thomas. Also, more news. They lost their quarterback, Sam Darnold, to mono. He's out indefinitely, so very tough for the Jets. Very tough up and down emotional roller coaster. You get Le'Veon Bell, you put up 8 points offensively, your defense looks great. Then you trade for a receiver and your quarterback goes down in the same week. It's tough. It's tough. I feel for y'all. But without further ado, let's get into week 2 predictions. Starting off by saying that there are 10 early afternoon games in the NFL this week, as well as a Thursday night game and a Monday night game. So it's a lot of football. It's a lot of football to watch. Hopefully y'all had a red zone like I do, and you can kind of keep track of everything kind of at the same time, get little updates on each game as it's going on. Very excited about week 2. Starting off with the Thursday night game, Buccaneers at Panthers. Panthers won 9 of the last 12 meetings. Jameis Winston was second to last in quarterback rating this past week. 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions against San Francisco. This is another home game for Cam and C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey. Please, show out. Show the world what you're capable of doing. This is y'all's statement game. A lot of people aren't going to be looking at this game like it's going to be great because neither one of these teams have been great the last 2 years. This is a time for somebody to to step up. You know, Cam has not been playing that well. Neither has Jameis Winston. So somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it, man. Why not the home team? Why not Cam? I'm rolling with the Panthers again. I expect the defense to show up and show out after what San Francisco's defense did to Jameis. I expect Christian McCaffrey to do what he's been doing. I expect Curtis Samuel to come out and do something more than what he did in week 1. I'm rolling with the Panthers on a Thursday night game tonight. Cowboys at Redskins, early Sunday game. Redskins allowed 32 points to Philadelphia. Dallas held New York to 17. The defensive matchups favor Dallas on both sides. Their offense matches up well against this Redskins defense. Their defense matches up well against this Redskins offense. I'm taking the Cowboys to go 2-0. Dallas won 7 of the last 10 matchups. Dallas does have to fix their run defense. They allowed 8.9 yards per rush last week against Saquon Barkley and company. So that is a concern, but the Redskins don't have a a great back. They just lost guys for the season. They're pulling Adrian Peterson, old man Peterson, out of the works again to come back and try to help them get this thing going. I don't know, man. I don't think that their running game is going to be enough to beat the Cowboys. So I'm going with Dallas there. Colts at Titans. This is tough. This is game 50 between these two teams. Colts won the last 13 of the last 15 games. The Titans impressed in week 1. As I mentioned earlier, they outscored the Browns 21-0 in the fourth quarter. The Titans D-line with Cameron Wake, Jarrell Casey. Those guys, I loved what I saw from that defensive line, getting pressure on Baker, stopping the run. I feel like the Titans defense is complete, and I feel like they're legit. I'm going to roll with the Titans here at home to move to 2-0. So here we go, another 2-0 team. Seahawks at Steelers. This series is tied 9-9. The Steelers won 3 of the last 4. Russell Wilson has only played Pittsburgh once. He's 1-0. The Seahawks allowed 395 passing yards to Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton. Are you kidding me? Without A.J. Green. The Steelers threw the ball 47 times against the Patriots. I expect them to throw the ball at least 40 times against the Seahawks, and I expect them to get the dub, get back on track. You know they always got the little weird thing going on at the beginning of the year, kind of like the Patriots do. But the Steelers, I do expect them to get the win here at home against the Seahawks team, the Seahawks defense that struggled last week defending the passing attack of the Bengals. So, going with the Steelers. Bills at Giants. The Giants defense gave up the most passing yards last week. 405. The Bills gave up the second least passing yards at 155. The Bills defense only allowed 8 points. The other 8 points was New York Jets defense with the touchdown and the safety. So I'm going to have to roll with the Bills. Giants fall 0-2. Big questions on whether they should put Daniel Jones in now or continue to suffer under Eli, who I think is going to have another bad game at home in front of the home fans. You know New York is not patient. They don't like this. They know Daniel Jones looked good in the preseason. They're going to be rooting for Daniel Jones. So I'm going with the Bills on the road in a kind of Daniel Jones awakening. Because I believe that this will be the game. If he doesn't get in the middle of the game, he will start the next game. That is my prediction. Patriots at Dolphins. 6 touchdowns. 265 rushing yards. Allowed by the Dolphins defense last week. So there's no pressure on the Pats. There's no pressure on the road. You know, easy win. No Miami Miracle this time. The new coach, Brian Flores, you know how Bill Belichick treats these new, I almost said cheat, excuse me, treats these new head coaches in the league, these new quarterbacks. We know that they don't lose when it comes to new guys. So, rolling with the Patriots, no-brainer here. Not even going to be close. Another blowout for the Dolphins, and everybody's left wondering if Brian Flores should have been hired as the head coach. Jaguars at Texans. Texans won 8 of the last 10 games. Jacksonville had no sacks against the Chiefs, and they lost their quarterback. Houston allowed 8 yards per carry to New Orleans. The lack of receivers by Jacksonville is going to hurt. Unless they can get that same performance from DJ Chark, I think they're going to struggle again. So I'm going to go with Texans at home here. Texans are going to get their first win of the season, 1-0 at home. Vikings at Packers. This is going to be a good game. Minnesota won 5 of the last 6. Green Bay's last win, you may ask, December 24th, 2016 in Green Bay. The Packers' run defense allowed just 46 yards. 3.1 yards a carry against Chicago in that Thursday night season opener. Aaron Rodgers, these are a few stats that he has against the Vikings in his career. 68% completion percentage, 41 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 110 quarterback rating versus the Vikings in his career. I'm rolling with the Packers at home to move to 2-0, take control of the division. I almost forgot. When I was taking notes, I almost forgot to do analysis on my own freaking team. So, Chargers at Lions. The Chargers are not healthy, guys. We are losing players left and right. Hunter Henry is going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Mike Williams was sidelined mid-game for who knows why, a leg injury of some sort. He says he's fine. Who knows how he's going to play next week. We're traveling from LA to Detroit. The last game was 38 to 28. Excuse me, 33 to 28 in Detroit. God, I cannot get this right. The last game that we had was 33-28 in San Diego. We won that game. The Chargers did. The last Detroit game was 38 to 10 in Detroit. I remember that game. I was pretty upset because Brandon Pettigrew was killing us. But anyway, Matthew Stafford threw for 361 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks in a tie. Got sacked 3 times. The Chargers didn't get any turnovers last week against the Colts with no Andrew Luck. The Lions must pass protect to win this game. Their receiving depth can come in big. You think of the receivers, Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones Jr., Danny Amendola. Those guys, new rookie TJ Hockenson looks amazing. The Chargers running game is going to be tough to stop. If we burn the clock with the running game, I think we have a chance. We were 8-0 outside of LA last year, considered the road warriors of the league. Can we do it again? I don't know. I'm actually picking the Lions to win this game, believe it or not. Just because if we were healthy, then I would pick us. But we're not healthy. We're traveling across the country early in the season. I really don't like this, man. I don't like this. I'm not feeling good about this game. Hopefully, our pass rush can take over this game early. Get them in some long third downs, force them to pass. Our pass defense is pretty good. But I'm hoping we can win, but I'm picking the Lions to win this game. I told you I was going to be honest. I'm picking the Lions to get their first win of the season. 49ers at Bengals, the first late game. Actually, no, excuse me. That's still an early game. So you see what I'm saying? There's so many early games going on here. 49ers at Bengals. The away team won 4 of the last 5 in this series between the 49ers and the Bengals. The Bengals have to run the ball. They have to run the ball. They ran for 34 yards last week. That is unacceptable as an NFL team. I understand that they passed the ball pretty well. 34 rush yards is unacceptable. I don't care who you are. 49ers have to pass the ball better. They passed for 158 yards. So both teams have areas they need to work on. Coleman injury is huge, the injury to Tevin Coleman. San Francisco had 3 sacks last week. Cincinnati had 4. I expect a lot of sacks in this game as well. But I'm going to roll with the road team, 49ers. Keep that trend going. I believe that they can get this dub. They'll move to 2-0. Surprise the world. On to Cardinals at Ravens. Lamar Jackson and that defense has been rolling, guys. We saw what they did to the Dolphins. It's the battle of young quarterbacks. I know we got Lamar on one side. We got rookie Kyler Murray on the other side. This is the first road game for Kyler Murray. We saw how slow he started at home. This could end badly for Kyler Murray on the road in Baltimore against this team that had just destroyed their last opponent. So I'm going to have to roll with the home team Ravens. I do believe that the Ravens will get this job done. They'll move to 2-0. So another 2-0 team. Cardinals won't be so lucky this time as to tie. I don't think Kyler's going to be able to start slow again and get away with not losing the game. So, going Ravens. Chiefs at Raiders. We're finally into the late games. There are only 2 of them. Chiefs at Raiders. Kansas City won 8 of the last 10. There are only 2 losses, you ask, were in Oakland. So, the Chiefs won in Oakland last year by 7 points. That was the score differential, just 7 points. They won it was 35-3 in Kansas City. So it's a big difference between when they play in Oakland and play in Kansas City. I think they finally caught the Raiders at the right time. The Raiders finally caught the Chiefs at the right time, I should say. They're pretty high. You know, they've won a game. They won a playoff game. They won the first game of the year. The Raiders starting a new era, looking to make a statement game out of this one. I believe that John Gruden and those guys will get the dub in Oakland. Prove the 2-0. Bring the Chiefs down some. Make it do what it do. So, Saints at Rams. Forget all the stats. Forget everything. Forget how each offense runs. Forget what the defense looks. Forget all of that for a second. Now let's just think. The last time these 2 teams played each other, the NFC Championship game. Okay? We all know it. We know how that call affected the whole game, or the rest of the game. We know how that call affected the Super Bowl opponents and the outcome. The Rams didn't even win the Super Bowl. And the Patriots are... Who am I talking about? The Rams didn't even win the Super Bowl. And the Saints are still mad about this. So you know they've been talking about it. They had this game circled. It's an early game in the year. We don't have to wait for this. We get it week 2 when teams are both healthy. You know, we good? What's up? Everybody's going to be tuned in. I'm picking the Saints, man. They've been waiting on this. All the pressure's on the Rams. They're at home. Fans are expecting them to come out and play well. Trying to see if last year's game was really a fluke. I'm going with Sean Payton, Drew Brees, and them boys, man. I don't think they're going to lose again, even though they're in LA. I got to roll with the Saints. Yo, what's up, y'all? I totally forgot to do the Bears at Broncos game. I do apologize to y'all. My pick for that game is the Bears. I'm going to pick the Bears in this game, and I'm going to pick them to actually score some points. Mr. Trubisky's going to get back on his roll. They're going to be able to create turnovers like they weren't able to do in Chicago on the season opening game. I believe Chicago will be able to pull this one out by 10 or more points. So, Chicago will win this game. Appreciate it. Sorry about that. I'm going to let y'all get back to the video. Eagles, Falcons, the other late game. Falcons allowed 172 rush yards. Philadelphia allowed just 28. But I'm going to have to go with the Falcons. The Eagles allowed 370 pass yards to Case Keenum. Case Keenum. Now they're about to see Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has won his only game he's played against Atlanta. He hasn't played in Atlanta, which is what he's going to do. I don't know, man. I don't feel like the Falcons are going to have that terrible game again where they're down 28-0 going into the fourth quarter. They finally figured out in the fourth quarter. I think they can ride that momentum that they gained in that quarter into this game here and beat the Eagles in Atlanta. Win their win at home. Browns at Jets, Monday night game. Baker threw 3 interceptions to just 1 touchdown against the Titans. I don't think he's gonna do much better against the Jets, but he doesn't have to because Jets, like we said before, are without their starting quarterback. He has mono, so I'm gonna roll with the Browns. There's no way for them to lose this game. Like, the Titans came in prepared. The Titans are a blue-collar team. We know that. No pun intended. I know they wear blue. But still. But the Jets, although their defense is tough and they can run the ball, like we talked about before, they needed a receiver. They got the receiver, but they lost the quarterback. So that's even worse. I don't believe that this is going to be very high scoring, but I do believe that the Browns are going to win by at least 2 possessions. Because Trevor Siemian is your backup quarterback for the Jets. I'm sorry. I'm never going to say that Trevor Siemian's going to win a football game. I can't do it. Can't. Okay? So, those are my pick predictions for week 2, man. Thank y'all for watching. It's your boy, Jay. We out of here.